Caity Walker, welcome to Is the Vibe podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Very honored.
I am so excited to chat to you today. So, a little bit of like our backstory of how we met, and I just don't even remember how long ago it was. I want to say it would have been probably over a year, perhaps. We've kind of been like in and out of each other's worlds. And in my early days of personal development, yeah, we were in like this Facebook group, and I remember it so clearly because I was reading the Napoleon Hill book.
Think and Grow Rich.
That's the one. Thank you.
Yep.
See, she gets me. So it's talking about like community and having like your squad around you effectively, like your council and your people. And I was like, fuck, I don't really have that in my life right now. So like I'm part of this group and it's like the vibiest group I know. So like let me cast the net out there. And like sure enough, here she was. I think we had like one or two calls maybe together. And I was just like, yeah, no, this bitch is a vibe. I need her in my life. And here we are working together now solely for actually over 6 months in mentoring and part of your mastermind, which is also life-changing. So thank you. And I'm excited to chat through not only things that I have bloody heard you say today that I'm like, fuck, we need to talk about this and we're recording today, how beautiful, but also concepts that I swear you touched on like earlier on in our journey together that like I said to you before we started recording, they're not rent-free in my head. They pay rent because they serve. Like, yep. All right, we're doing the things here. So before we get into all of that, Caity Walker, just tell the podcast audience a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Well, my name's Caity Walker. It's actually a bit of a joke now that whenever people introduce me or whenever people speak to me, like even on the street, it's Caity Walker. It's never just Caity anymore. I'm like, when did that happen? So I'm Caity Walker. I'm a coach. So I'm a mindset coach, leadership coach, more so now. I'm a creator, so I'm big on into socials. I mean, on the social media game. But most exciting is I'm a co-founder. So I also have a corporate coaching and consulting company, which has just launched, called We Are Mindfluencers. So that's me, I guess, in my LinkedIn bio, if we can call it that. But I think more on that human point, I am a go-getter. I'm a bogan, and I just want to have fun. Like I'm disruptive, and I'm just here to have fun.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And you are somebody who reminds me to stop strangling the life out of my life and go and have some more fun. Like, just relax. Like, don't take everything so seriously. Right? We love it. So, talking on the word disruption and segueing beautifully into like where I wanted to kind of start today. So, disruption, as we were talking about before we jumped on air, is like to me, especially as a kid, is has a really negative connotation around it, right? So it's like as you're a kid, you're like, don't be disruptive and like don't do this, and you have to sit in the corner if you're disruptive. And then we kind of take that into like adulthood because our little backpack from 0 to 7 that we've taken with us through our adult life is sort of like, okay, cool. So don't be disruptive, don't do this, don't do that, like sit in the good girl box and do all of those things. And then you kind of talk about the word disruptive in the way that you do it. And it's just like, no, fuck that. I'm going to disrupt the hell out of everything just for funsies, So talk to me about, I guess, if you could do the Caity Walker definition of disruptive, what would that be?
I love it. The Caity Walker definition of disruptive would be change maker, trailblazer, shaking things up. And I think when you think about disruptive, and you're so right, we are conditioned from such a young age to view disruption as a negative trait and being disruptive as being negative. Yet no change occurs without a form of disruption. So from my perspective, being disruptive is being somebody that's a catalyst for other people's growth. It's being somebody that is willing and able to stand in and step up and take on that role of going first. It's leadership. Being disruptive is saying, actually, no. Like, I know that this perhaps worked in the past, but I'm open to exploring other avenues. Let's change it. Let's do something differently. The saying goes, which I'm sure you've heard of and spoken to many times, Megs, like, nothing changes if nothing changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So being disruptive then, it's going in, and the visual that I get is like, it's not going in and just moving a couple of things around. Like it's actually going in and shaking the freaking box and being like, no, like it's time to change this, right? And so that would be my definition of disruptive. And I have wholeheartedly taken it on board. And absolutely fucking love it.
Mhm.
I love it. I love seeing people go, oh, what? I love proving people wrong. I'm obsessed with like documenting the journey and storytelling. And like I'm obsessed with that, the theme of being the underdog.
Mhm.
Like that's the thing. And that's an underdog is disruptive.
Mhm.
They come in and they're like, you don't belong here. And they're like, well, I'm going to show you that I do.
Yeah.
And that's been a theme across my life, has been putting myself in rooms with people like around or in certain environments where little Caity, my 0 to 7 programming years, little Caity that grew up from extremely humble beginnings in a very low socioeconomic environment doesn't belong here. So I'm going to prove that I do and disrupt other people's programming in regards to that belief, because that means everybody behind me gets to come too. And
Mhm.
so if you're listening to this, be more disruptive.
Yes.
Find the fun in disruption.
Yes, I love it. Find the fun in disruption. So I guess in like, following that thread a little bit along, we talk about and something again that you said earlier was, wanting to be disruptive, but then also being a people pleaser and kind of not wanting to rock the boat. Like, I guess it's like wanting to be your definition of disruptive. So just like, instead of shaking the shit out of the box, you kind of just rattle it a little bit and kind of like see how it feels, as opposed to like, or just dipping your toe in the water of disruption instead of like doing a big fat dive bomb off the top, like diving platform and like splashing everywhere, right? And then when you said it's really about wanting respect as opposed to being a people pleaser. So it's about almost, and not even almost, it's about having that kind of acknowledgement that, you know what, yeah, exactly, you've come and you've been disruptive, and it's not because like you want to upset anybody or any kind of like negative ways, but then you're kind of like sitting in this space where it's like, please validate me, please like me, please, please don't be mad at me, sort of like. So yeah, talk through, I guess, that when you what inspired you to kind of create that kind of connection.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about so we'll talk about it in the context of leadership, right? And leaders, because that's kind of my jam. So if we think about disruptive leadership or disruptive entrepreneurship, it's essentially somebody coming into an industry and going, we can do this a better way. And I'm going to show you that better way, right? And they come in and they shake the box a little bit. Now, if you think about what has happened in the build up for that person to become a disruptive leader and to have essentially the balls to do it, because that's what it is more than anything, is the courage, right? So for someone to get to that point, I can almost guarantee that they've had that back and forth within their mind, right? They've been sitting in that space of what's called, the terminology is cognitive dissonance, where it's like you're pulled in one direction, but you've got friction because you're also pulled in the opposite one. So in regards to what you're talking about, Megs, it's like, I think for me, growing up, again, very humble beginnings, like I fought my way to the position I'm in now. And I'm super fucking proud of that. But through that journey, it was 100%, and there's still moments of it. It was 100% the battle of, I want to disrupt and I want to lead, and I can feel it in my bones. Like if you're listening to this and you're like, I've got that too. Like you've got that little whisper of, you're meant for more. You can do better than this. Like there's more available for you. You just have to be willing to go for it. Like if you hear that voice, you've got the potential to be a disruptive leader, which is honestly, I think, a gift. And so there's part of me that's going, well, I don't want to abandon this gift. And the other part of me going, I just really want to be accepted. I just really want to be accepted. I really want to fit in. Because if you're somebody that has that innate, like disruptive tendency, like that leadership red in your bones, you stand out.
Mm-hmm.
When you answer that calling, when you answer that voice, you stand out. You all of a sudden are standing in a separate position to the majority, right? Because you're willing to do something different. Again, that's a brilliant thing. Yet when we are thinking about like growing up in those years of programming and conditioning, and we're in those different environments, we're essentially shamed for standing out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be isolated. You don't want to be alienated. You don't want to be the weird kid that's sitting by themselves. And I never was. Like, I want to be super transparent. I was never that kid. I've always been able to behave like with that flexibility to be like, oh, it's not the time for that. I actually want to be a part of this group.
Mm-hmm.
And that served me in those moments. And I think a lot of it was unconscious. So now a lot of what I do is teaching that to people. So it's pulling it out of my unconscious and going, how did I actually do this? How did I know when it was time to listen to that voice of, oh, I actually want to belong in this group, or when it was time to be disruptive. And I think it comes down to knowing yourself more than anything, knowing your standards and knowing what your boundaries are. Because I'll easily walk into a room, and if it doesn't hit my standards, and it's not to say that I ever think I'm better than anybody or I ever think anybody's better than me. I think that conversation is so old and done. Like, can we take it off the table? Like, everybody is innately worthy and everybody's on the same playing field, right? It's just tools and resources and different skill sets that we get to showcase to each other. And there's going to be people that are better than you, and you're 100% better than other people in many things. So let's lock that down for starters. But when you go into a space and it's like, oh, okay, these people aren't operating on the frequency that I'm usually at. Do I want to disrupt it? Or is it not worth my time? And so it's asking myself, do I want to be accepted by these people? Or do I just want their respect? And I think for a lot of my life, I found myself saying, oh no, I want to be accepted by these people. When in reality, being accepted by them was me. And this is the responsibility piece, like the responsibility lies with me. The reality was it saying that and admitting, yes, I want to be accepted by this particular group of people, was me saying, yes, I'll happily jump into that box that you're providing for me. And I'll happily sit within the confinements of what it means to be accepted by this particular group. And again, sometimes you want that, right? And this is where imposter syndrome might come in, because you might be put in a box where you're like, holy fuck, there's so much room in this box. Like, oh my God, how do I fill this box out? How do I like make sure they don't see that I'm really small in this box, or whatever it might be? So it applies in many different layers. But in this particular context, it's about saying, okay, well, I've actually allowed them to put me in this box. And now I'm finding myself people pleasing and playing small and holding my tongue and abiding by the rules of this particular group. And I don't want that. And there's been many, many times across my life where I've been like, oh, I'm doing it again. I'm doing that thing again where I just want acceptance. Oh, it's my little girl. It's that little part of me that just wants to belong. It's like, that's right. I just need to remind myself, you are safe. I accept you. You belong. And to keep moving forward. And like I said, I think, and I mean, I know that you get this, but listening to this, if there's any other entrepreneurs or business owners or any of the likes, like listening to this going, oh, I know that juggle. It's exactly what it is, right? It's such a juggle. It's like, okay, I'm holding I want to be accepted by this group of people, and I feel totally out of my depth. I feel like the little fish in a big pond, and I'm like swimming with these sharks, and I hope that they don't notice that this like fin that I've got on is actually just like rubber band around my waist, you know? It's like, you want to be accepted by certain people, but my question for you is, if you're listening to this, are you currently being accepted in a frequency that does not serve you? And is it time to fucking disrupt it? And that means having the balls to stand aside and go, nope, I'm going to do things differently, even if you're the only one initially.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And as you were saying that, it just like took me back to my days of like when I've been promoted like as a team leader from a team. And it was kind of like I was caught in this, like, you know, you've got like your team here and you've got like the execs here, and you're kind of like right in the middle, and you're not quite an exec yet, or you're not quite management yet, but you sure as shit don't get invited to go on lunch dates anymore. So it's kind of like you can, you know, be the girl that gets to be besties with everybody and has lunch with everybody, or you can kind of be the girl that is just like sitting on her own doing her own thing, or be the girl that's showing the management or the exec team actually just like, I'm here, like I'm ready to take it on, like, you know. So it's like, it's completely contextual, as you would say.
Yes, 100%. And I think on that as well, Megs, like what you've just said, it's essentially that you're tuning into a different frequency. There's always going to be the time when you're sitting on the table by yourself. And I think the sooner leaders and like leadership kind of pre-frame it, that if you want to move into leadership, get ready to be a lone wolf for a hot minute. And learn to fucking love it. And what can you do while you're that lone wolf? Like, what can you learn about yourself? What skills can you flex? Like, what resources can you develop? Like, whatever it is, right? Like, to actually go into that lone wolf era and have a bit of a freaking heads up would have been so great when I was doing that the first time, right? Where you're just like, oh my God, no one likes me. I'm alone. I'm going to be alone forever. And it's like this down spiral of just like shame and no. But the reality is it's going to change, but it's only going to change if you move. And if you think about the analogy I like to utilize is like finding the tuning station on a radio.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can be solid on one radio station. If you tune it a little bit, you're going to go to static. So that alone bit is the static. It's like you can't hear anybody else. No one can hear you. You're just in this gray man's land, right? But if you continue to tune, then you're going to be on a new frequency. And can you stay there? Because I think the
Mm-hmm.
trick here is holding the energy of what you want
Yes.
as opposed to what's comfortable. Because
Yes.
as humans, and I know you know this, Megs, and majority of your audience probably do as well, as humans, we want to be comfortable. That's the number one thing your unconscious wants, and your unconscious is fucking running that show. So it's like, how can you start to create a better relationship with discomfort and ease yourself into that, knowing that it's coming?
Yeah, 100%. And I just think it's so interesting that this is just like our primitive brain is still at work, or it's just like you're not accepted and therefore you're not going to be part of the tribe and therefore you're not going to eat with everyone, therefore you're going to be dead. Like it's so fucking dramatic. Like, all right.
It's so true. It's like, excuse me, who's running the show? Can you calm down? Like, we're not dying. We're fine. Like, we're eating lunch on our own. Grow up. Like,
yeah, literally, right? Literally. It's just the funniest thing because it's like as soon as you're like I feel that spiral in myself and I was like, oh my God, like this. And I'm like, hang on a minute, ew, did I really just think that? All right. Let's like pick ourselves up here. We're just gonna move on because that was insane.
yes, 100%. And that comes to self-awareness, right? And I know that, like it's something that we've spoken about a lot. It's that like not problems. Like, what are your problems right now? And are they actually problems? Or
Oh
are
my
you
God.
just catastrophizing as a way to create problems because you've just fucking used to having them? It's
Yes.
like getting yourself used to being in space.
Yeah.
And I like that word intentionally, getting yourself used to sitting in a zone where you're not thinking, where you don't have a problem that you're unpacking 24/7, where you can just sit and you can be happy and content, or you can be planning to the future, right? And like, I'm a big visionary. I love that shit. But it's like, it takes practice to move out of the frequency of getting your mind to constantly want to jump into that worry stream, which is an analogy that Gay Hendricks uses in our favorite book, Megs,
Yay,
The
Big Leap.
which is literally like Bible. Like if you haven't listened or read that book, like that's top of your list officially as of now, because it will change your life. But like what he speaks about is when you recognize that you've jumped into that worry stream, can you recognize that you can just climb out? And I love what he says in that book around recognizing that when we think that those worrisome thoughts have a hold on us, when we can actually recognize that it's us that has a hold on them and we can actually choose to just let it go, it's the most liberating thing. And I mean, that whole book, fuck, we could talk for hours just on that whole book. But yeah, I think it's that recognizing when you're moving out of the frequency, recognizing when your worry thoughts are wanting to pull you back down, and gaining the tools and resources to be able to turn them off.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like the biggest thing here is like confidence safety, right? Which is like the main directive of our unconscious mind. So, and again, like before I started working for you, and like even delving into this world is sort of like I just accepted things to be as is. Like this is just things as they are. This is how like and it's so shit if you think about it, because it's like you go to kinder, you go to school, you go to high school, you go to uni, you get a job, you get married, you buy a house, you know, all these things. And it's just like, okay, I've never ever been that. Unconsciously, I've never been that. So, but consciously, it was just like, oh, why have I not done that yet? Like, why? Instead of asking myself why I feel that is a thing for me. Like having this like box of programming that we've kind of got and me thinking the way that I do and never questioning why. And I'll give you a good example because you'll find this so funny. So I shared with you my Bali plane accommodation thing that I want to go to. So this big fuck off plane on this island, and it's like you can sleep in it. It's like I'm obsessed with aviation. Like I need to be there. I have said for as long as I can remember, I will never get in a helicopter. Like in my whole life, it's a fan in the sky. It's just not right. Like I'm just never going to do it. Do you know the only way you can get to that island where that plane is? Through a fucking helicopter. So I not only have been unintentionally blocking stuff, right? And this is a out there thing because it's just the top of my mind because I had to laugh at myself all morning about this. But like, so like I want the end thing, but the thing that's going to get me there, I don't want that. I don't want that. And I'm going to refuse and block all of that and push that all out the way until I just magically get this other thing that's going to come to me. Because we don't question why. Why do I think that way? Why did I believe that? Does that belief still actually serve me? And if it doesn't, what does my new belief get to be? And like you say, the lone wolf thing is so true, right? Because when you start on this journey, and I think I said this in the podcast, like whenever it was, like last week or the week before, is that when you prioritize personal development, not everybody gets to come with you on your journey. And that's a really hard thing to do when you're used to the same circle of friends, same family group members, the same, whatever. It's so hard to sit in that on your own and know that effectively your direct actions have caused you to potentially like not be as close to those people anymore. But what you get to gain on the other side is just like a bazillion times better. It's just like sitting in that, which I am working on, because like the sitting part for me is still not my best skill yet. she's, she's working on it. I'm just like, give me the fucking end, I'm done. But yeah, so it's just really about, yeah, changing that. And it's sort of like, it is as those thoughts run through, it's sort of like, wow, is this actually a problem for me? Or is this just something that my brain is used to mulling over and thinking about? And those thought patterns that are occurring that you can interrupt so fucking easily when you realize, I'm not even really worried about this. This is just like something I used to be worried about.
Yeah, 100%. I think as well, it's interesting. Like, I think the best question to ask yourself, and you've essentially covered it, but like this succinct wording, when did I decide that? Can be so powerful because, for instance, with the helicopter, and without going into it and doing a coaching session live on the podcast, it's essentially the piece of like, oh, okay, so I really hate helicopters. When did I decide that? If I love aviation, when did I decide that helicopters are not okay? And it could be as simple. And this is where I really want people to pay attention, because it doesn't mean that at some point in your life, or it doesn't mean in a past life or whatever you believe, that you've been in a helicopter accident or that you've had a traumatic event that you've experienced firsthand. It can honestly be something as simple as being, particularly in that imprint phase, in that 0 to 7 or after, but that's going to hold more weight, being in that phase and seeing the end of a movie. So perhaps you don't have the full context of the film, and maybe you walked in and you saw your parents watching a movie and there was a helicopter crash and you saw it and you were scared and you were terrified. Then you all of a sudden, I hate helicopters, embed it into your unconscious, and it's going to stay there forever. So now when you're an adult and you want this thing, you go, oh, but helicopters make me really uncomfortable. And you can go, hang on, when did I decide that? And if you can't actually find anything, maybe you just made it up. Yeah. And maybe it holds 0 weight and therefore is no longer in your way. So this is where like self-inquiry will fucking change your life, because as soon as you can start to move into this space, right, Megs, I know you know this, around questioning your thoughts, that's when you actually start to determine, what do you want to think? Not what do you want to think just because it's been programmed into you previously. And when you can start to take control like that, oh my God, your entire world changes, because now you move into the space of being like, well, I don't remember when I decided that. Or maybe I do, and I'm actually ready to choose something different. That's super powerful as well. Yeah. Or you can go, no, I do remember when that happened, and I'm working on that.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
But there's responsibility.
It is. Yeah, it's all on us. And the most fun part, I will say, about all of that, once you kind of like, I've done nothing but question every fucking thing I've ever thought my whole life to this point now. But like when you catch yourself doing it in the moment, like live, like it's almost actually fun, because, and like you will know the story, when I went on the Porsche shoot like a couple of weeks ago, and I was just like obsessed with this presenter. Like she was just so well put together, the way that she like turned herself on when she was on camera, it was just like something else. And I had all these other Porsche drivers around me that it was just like almost like I couldn't help myself but to be like, oh, I bet you they've got this, or I bet you they've got that. And I had to stop myself and be like, but you fucking real, you do nothing but hate when people judge you for the car that you drive. This is what you're doing. And this is like exactly when we say people are mirrors for us. Like I still obviously had shit to kind of work through, but I was able to catch myself in the moment and kind of be like, oh my God, like she's so well put together. She does this, like, when she like speaks on camera, and like, she's not scared to take her B-roll footage and her BTS footage. She's not, and it was almost like, oh my God, can I never be that? And I was just like, ew, shut the fuck up. If you want to do that, then just do that. It's like, that's simple.
Literally. And how fucking complicated do we make it in our minds? Like we actually make it out to be this huge, big, overwhelming thing. Like no matter what it is, it's like, even something as simple as like I've worked with people in the past that have struggled to make a phone call, or like we actually, and I guarantee there's people listening to this now that are like, oh, that makes me anxious doing that, or going in and starting a new gym, or like honestly, whatever it is, going on a date, like meeting somebody new, public speaking, like there's a scale, right? Like there's a whole different whole spectrum here. But whatever it is for you, it's recognizing, okay, I could actually just start to choose something different. And for instance, if you have a crippling fear of public speaking, you don't need to go and do public speaking straight up.
Mm.
You don't need to go and stand on a stage and talk to 100, 500, 10,000 people. That's not what I'm saying. Maybe you can start to speak to two strangers every single day
Yeah.
and just say hello on the walking track or when you're in the supermarket, or instead of going through the self-serve checkout, if like getting over social anxiety is something you want to do, how about you go through an actual checkout and speak to an actual human? It's like we think that, and it's such a human fucking thing to do, but we think of these big goals that we want to achieve and we assume that, oh, I can't do that, so I'm not good enough for it. Of course you can't do it. You've never fucking done it before. Like,
Yeah.
or of course you can't do it because you're so in your head. You haven't, like, you're not actually doing, you're just thinking. And so it's this piece of how can you actually break it down? And I think so often we hear and we speak about in the personal development world, goal setting and making them tangible and breaking them down and SMART goals and all of that bland beige bullshit. And I just think if people actually got specific around what they wanted, which I think majority of people's first like downfall is they don't actually know.
100%. Clarity.
Like, yeah, get clear. Like, what is it? I want to feel like this and I want to feel like that. Why? What does feeling like that give you? And it's actually the piece of like being willing to take up space, being willing to be selfish, even if it's only inside of your own head and your own journal. Like, be selfish. What do you want? And I know, Megs, we've spoken about these heaps as well, and it's something I preach all the time. If nothing bad would happen and nobody would get hurt, what do you want? Yeah. Like, actually take that sentence and go and bloody journal on it. Like, sit yourself in a room, put some binaural beats on or some music or something that's just going to keep those little like distractions at bay, and just sit there and just ponder that. If nothing bad would happen and nobody would get hurt, what do I want? Maybe I'd tell that person that I love them. Maybe I would tell that person that I don't love them. Maybe I would quit my job. Maybe I'd actually ask for the promotion. Maybe I like start the business, like do the thing, like whatever it is. Cool. And now you can figure out where's the resistance in me to that. What's the feelings in my body that are coming up that are stopping me from actually wanting to do that? Whether it's take B-roll content or behind the scenes content, you know? And it's like, oh, well, and what's great about this, and I know that we've spoken about it, Meg's in depth, and you've just said it around like that judgment piece, right? And recognizing for yourself, oh, hang on, I'm judging, and that's what I'm worried about. It's like that beacon, just from a little bit of self-awareness, a beacon of light that goes, here you go. This is exactly the thing that you need to look at right now. Like, off you go in your personal development, like go and strengthen this, like unpack this a little bit more, or recognize that you've fallen out of that well-worn groove. Like, you know, it's like that little reminder and that little nudge of like, oh yeah, I'm a human. There we go. There it is. And being willing to see that. And like, people talk a lot about shadow work. I love shadow work so much. And essentially that's what it is. It's being willing to look at the ugly parts of yourself that you don't really want people to see, and that you don't want to see more than anything. It's like, oh, I don't want to witness myself judging other people. I would never do that. And it's like, yes, you would. Everybody does. We all do. Like, we're humans. Like, being judgmental is a human trait. Like, you've got it no matter what. Whether you're having a positive or a negative judgment is another question, but you're always judging. And so I think it's about acceptance, like for self. And to loop back to what we spoke about right at the beginning, we so often are seeking that acceptance external, right?
Yeah.
Looking for it fucking anywhere that like will give it to us. Like, oh my God, they said they liked me, or oh my gosh, like they invited me to this. It's like all those things are brilliant, but how much weight are you putting on them? Because that weight is pressure on those people's shoulders to live up to that expectation, to literally carry your worthiness for you. Yeah. And how about you just carry it yourself? Like, it's time. It's 2024.
That's what we're here for this year. And that's really true, because I guess the more, like in terms of your beliefs, like the energy that you place on them, it can be a bit of a belief where you're like, yeah, no, I know that to be true. Or like, this is gospel. There is nothing outside of this. Like, you know, that kind of like belief scale, if you will. That is, again, like if you can, I guess, understand what the beliefs are that have the most, like, carry the most weight in your life, And are they serving you or are they not? Because that's going to be a pretty like key insight into like where your mind's at and what it's doing. And I think the key piece about that is when you notice those things, and you know, when this, like you said, when the sensations come up in your body and like what you experience in that space, don't fear that part of it, and don't judge yourself harshly for it either. Like you said, we're all fucking human, we judge everyone, like, you know, like it is what it is. And like you say, positive or negative or whatever, but you, like us coming across as like that, oh my God, I would never say that, I would never do that, like bitch, we all do that. So you know, it is, and it's just noticing that. Or when you fall back into an old pattern or you do all of these things, and something you said to me as well is you can't hate yourself into change. You have to love the fuck out of yourself into knowing that you want better and supporting yourself in that, like you want to do better. So let's like do all of the loving, nurturing things to get us there, as opposed to like whip and chain fucking like, let's go, like get up that hill now.
100%. And I think as well, it's that piece of like any resistance that you find in or on rather your personal development journey. It's like, instead of recognizing that it's this big roadblock, what if you were to take those, like say those metaphorical bricks, those resistant pieces, those limiting beliefs, the judgments that you find on yourself, right? If you were to pick that up and instead of going, oh my God, I'm the worst person ever, I'm going to sit down on this path and I'm just going to cry. What if you just utilized it to continue to pave the way? And go, oh, I can actually move a little bit further now because I've looked at that thing and I've actually integrated it. Like I've embedded it on the path and gone, I accept this about myself. This is what needs to change. And I've made the action, which is the step. And now I'm that little bit closer to my goals, as opposed to just standing there and going, there's no path or there's just a big roadblock. It's like, I mean, I joke about it and I get that it is really challenging. I think I also am at the position now where I just don't fucking have time for it. I'm like I get to this point where I'm like, and actually I think it's more about being available for conversations, right? With myself. Like we can sit here and we can preach standards and boundaries in relationships external to us, but all of that's going to start with yourself. And so if you're willing to sit with yourself and go, okay, am I actually here for this conversation right now? Am I going to listen to myself just like shame and emotionally abuse myself? And if this was somebody external to me right now, am I actually going to stay in this room and listen to this bullshit? Do I actually believe what this person is saying about me? And the piece here is, if you do, work on that. Yeah. How can you build external evidence that is like, you're going to be like, oh, I know that I'm a good person because I'm the kind of person that does X, Y, and Z. And if you're looking, and this is where, oh my gosh, I'm going on a tangent now, but it's that piece of like, if you're aware of who you want to be, and I know we speak about this a lot, Megs, it's the who over the how for me every day of the week. If you know who you want to be and you've got those keywords and you know them, go and be that. And I like, go and be that as loud as possible, from the perspective of like, so one of my words is kind, right? Like I want to be known as somebody that is really fucking kind. And I know that I'm a really kind person. So that means that if I'm at the checkout and the lady in front of me that's got the small child that's losing its shit and she happens to drop her change and it runs across the ground, I'm going to go and pick up the change. Yeah. I'm not going to stand there and just watch her struggle. Like, so it's like when you have those words right at the front of your awareness, you're going to spot the opportunities to flex that. And I intentionally utilize the word flex because I want you, when you do it, to fill yourself with pride and that sense of accomplishment for being the person that you say you are on paper, because people feel that shit. Yeah. and it feels fucking good to like walk out of any scenario or put your head on the pillow at night and go, yes, I was that person today. Yeah. And tomorrow I'm going to choose to be that person again. But if you don't know what that person is, like you're just wandering around lost. Of course you feel confused. Of course you're lacking clarity. You don't know where the hell to direct your energy. So it's like, start with the who. Who do you want to be? And then it's the how will present itself. Like quite literally, you'll be presented with constant opportunities of showcasing how kind you are, or how health focused you are, whatever it is. It'll be right there. And that's the magic.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% it is. Because I think we're just like how we're going to get to like the end goal is just like the steps we're going to take is like our logical mind. We're going to do this, then we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Instead of sort of like starting at the end being like, okay, cool, this is the grand vision, right? This is the biggie. This is the, holy grail, if you will, right? So this is where we want to end up, the oasis. And so we don't kind of and it's like to use your building blocks like metaphor, like growth and life is not like step by step by step by step. You got like peaks and troughs and shit to kind of go through, and it's not like linear. So one thing I love talking about with you and love the way that you articulate as well is also time collapsing. So when I initially think of time collapsing, and again, like most of the listeners will be very familiar with timelines and different things like that. So I am deep in this shit this week as I'm doing the manifestation reset, and I'm all fucking here for it because it's like things that you already know, but it's just like being reminded of it. And it's just like, okay, cool. And I shit you not, and you'll know this already, Caity, but like the synchronicities in my world at the minute is just like almost just like, okay, I get it. Stop fucking screaming at me. Like I get it. It's like I'm here. And it's fun because it's sort of like, okay, like instead of being like, oh my God, just send me a sign for the love of Jesus, what am I doing? I'm like the other way around. I'm like, I get the fucking signs. Like just like calm down, and it's fun. I'd rather be on this side. It's much more fun over here. So you talk and I'll let you delve deeply into this. Obviously, a long time collapsing where we can do like the 1%ers, we can do like the small steps where we can kind of like look to increase or like go on the next time or have the new thing that we're trying to do, but we do it in a small way. It's like dipping your toe into like your dream life almost, instead of, like I said, like springboarding off the 10-meter diving board and doing big fat bombing. So then we get to like the big part where we loop, where we bring it all together. So talk us through what that looks like kind of in your mind and how you articulate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like if you would have spoken to me about this like literally a couple of years ago, I would have been like, oh my God, I'm so interested in that. But like, how? And like, it's like just funny, like that funny little reflection piece for me to be like, oh my God, like, again, when you give yourself the evidence that this shit exists, it's just like, it's actually funny and life becomes one big hilarious game. Because you're just like, oh my God, what else can I do? Like, how else can I like put this into practice? So I'll explain it as simply as I can because we're not here for complexity, right? So we want to think about a timeline. So you've got a piece of string, and I'm going to do my best to describe this with words, knowing that the majority of you are probably listening to this, right, instead of watching. So you've got a piece of string, and one end of the string is where you are currently, and the other end of the string is where you want to be. And you can determine how many years, months, weeks, whatever is on that particular piece of string. And so what happens when we do a little 1%er? And this is where, and I'm all for the 1%ers, like James Clear lovers, do not come at me. Like I'm all for atomic habits. I'm like, yeah, habits are important. 100%. Yes. Do your habits. And you can do more, right? Like it can also get better. So when you think about those 1% habit changes, and it might be, I'm going to stop scrolling. I'm going to stop scrolling before I go to bed, or I'm going to put my alarm in a separate room, or I'm going to stop eating so much shit, or I'm going to go for a walk every day, or I'm going to sell like whatever it is that I sell, like my services more, or I'm going to drink more water. Like I'm just looking around my room. I'm like, like literally anything like, right? Those little 1% activities will make a difference. So going back to that string now, I want you to imagine that you've just pushed it up just a tiny little bit. You've just poked it a little bit and you pinched the string. So now that end point is a little bit closer to where you are right now. So you've got that piece of string and now it's shuffled along a little bit. So whether you've cut the string or whether you've marked the string with a texter, that texter line is now closer to the end, which is great. That's what we want. And so now the question asks, okay, well, if we can do that, what happens if we're to put a huge fuck off big ass loop in there that's going to pull it like to half the time, and it's going to reef that string in so hard that you're just going to be able to step across without having to go up and over that big mountain that you've just created with that string, right? Because essentially what's happening is the energy and its intent, like energy responds to focus so much. Like I always say it the wrong way around. It's like energy flows where focus goes, or something like that, right? It's like whatever you focus on expands. That's another one. So it's like whatever you're focusing on is energy underneath that string, and it's going to push it up. So like the more that it's pushed up, the more it's drawn in at the same instance because it's the same length of string. So it's going to draw it closer and closer. So the question is, sure, do the 1%ers 100%, and that might pull your 12-month goal into 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Epic. You've saved so much time. But what would happen if you just did one huge event? And what is that huge event for you? And again, it's very contextual depending on what it is that your goal is. But for instance, if it's like a business goal and you're working on showing up on your stories more, again, it's contextual. However, I would argue that it's closer to a 1%er than a big event, right? So it's a little 1%er and you're doing the things or whatever. But if that's a real issue for you, perhaps signing up for a course that's going to give you the confidence to do it is going to push it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be a bigger thing, a bigger amount of energy. You've got more skin in the game. You've got more energy and intent behind it. Boom, the string goes up, the end comes in. Now it's not going to be a 1%er showing up on my stories because I just pushed all this energy into one spot, pulled it right in. Now it's just a normal habit. Epic, moving on. What's another big thing that I could do? And this is where like investing in yourself has so much power because it pushes on the fucking string. And it sends that end goal so like it reels it in so quick that you're just like, oh my God, how did that happen? It's because you weren't doing anything to move the energy last time when you were doing it by yourself or without the extra tools and resources that you've gained from whatever the investment was. Or like you make a new friend and that friend like introduces you to somebody, but you can't make that friend without having the confidence to speak to them and then having the confidence to speak to them. And then you need the confidence to say what you do. And then they know somebody that offers you a job opportunity that just blows your entire world. Like this is how this shit works.
Yeah.
So it comes back to what are you willing to do?
Mm-hmm.
But more specifically, if you are willing, like that's number one, like what are you willing to do? And do you have the courage and the confidence and whatever to step into your vision? Like whatever your 5-year, 10-year, 3-year, if you're like me, you operate in 1 years. It's like, what's that vision? And if you were dropped into it right now, if you woke up tomorrow and you had it, could you hold it?
Mm-hmm.
Could you hold it? And most people could not because it's like, oh, okay, well, I really want to be. So for instance, I've just signed up to do a half marathon. I've never ran a half marathon before. It's been on my list of things to accomplish forever. And I've dabbled in running on and off and injuries and all the excuses, right, have held me back in the past. And the thing is, if I was to wake up tomorrow and it was race day, I'd be fucked.
Yes. Yes.
Like I'd be fucked. I'd be like, what? No, I mean, mind you, I'd find a way to fucking get it done. However, this is the piece, right? Because I'd have skin in the game. And so it's like, but if I was to wake up tomorrow and I'm like, oh my God, I actually don't feel prepared for this. Like at the moment I have an injury. Like I know that injury potentially would be worse if I was to just go out and run 21.1 Ks today. So it's like, if I was dropped into that vision right now, I probably wouldn't want to hold it.
Mm-hmm.
So it serves me sitting on the timeline where it does right now, but that doesn't mean that I can't do things that are going to pull it closer sooner. So investing in a chiropractor so that I can like quickly heal my back, investing in a naturopath so that I, again, can reduce inflammation and get that in a better position so that I can then invest in a run coach. So I see it's like, pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. I'll be able to run that way before I'm meant to, or like have to, given this current timeline and the current commitment. Because I pushed energy onto the timeline that's pulled it in closer to me. And I'll be running that race well before race day. And so I want you to apply this to your own specific goals and your own specific visions that you have for yourself. You don't have it because you wouldn't be able to hold it. So who do you need to be to hold it? And how can you be that now? Like yesterday.
Yeah, I love it. It's such a good example. And I think you guys are nuts for running marathons, but like power to you. I love that for you guys. But I liken it to like, you know, this is like a really common one that everyone's probably going to be able to relate to. It's like the not relate to, but have heard all this. So it's the lottery winners that win $1 million. And then they are so often will lose their fortune within a certain amount of time because they don't know how to hold it. Because being somebody who like quote unquote earns $1 million has had all of these kind of like precursors to that point. So it's like, okay, cool. I do this to earn it. I do this to earn it. I do this to hold it. I do this to, you know, sometimes it like I do this to reduce it and then I do this to earn it back. Right. So you kind of like, you're at that baseline. But if your baseline's like, you know, I won $2 on a scratchy at the Keno, and then next minute you've got a meal sitting in the bank. It's sort of just like you kind of go into the flurry of like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go buy a house, I'm gonna go buy a car, I'm gonna go like buy all of the things. And it's like what I love about like this timeline thing, and another way that I like to kind of talk about it with people is like my car is a great instance for like everyone's like, I would love to own a car, I would love to own a car like that. And yes, obviously driving a car like mine, like obsession, right? Every time I look at it, I just want to die with happiness. However, what comes with that, obviously, insurance is fucking expensive. The services are expensive. Like, I swear to God, they have like introduced these random services I've never even heard of before, like just for funsies too, right? So all of that stuff I have to hold in order to sort of like maintain this baseline of being a Porsche owner. And so, yeah, so I think it's all fun and good to say like, oh my God, I just want it now. But one, I feel like you might not enjoy it as much, like when you get to the end, like with your marathon example, like, yeah, you probably find a way, like knowing you'd find a way you'd be at the end. You'd be fucking dragged off that finish line, like hands and knees, like feel like a piece of shit, but you would have got it done. As opposed to doing all of the things, prepping like a motherfucker to get there. And it's like, okay, cool. I mean, it's still not going to be easy. Like, I still don't understand running, but it's going to be significantly less horrible.
100%. I fucking love that analogy with the money as well, because that's exactly what it is. It's putting in the work. It's actually putting in the work. And the only way to put in the work, I'm so sorry to tell you, is putting in the reps. Like, you actually need to go and do it. Like, you're not going to build the body of your dreams by just thinking about the body of your dreams, or even by talking to other people that have the body of your dreams. You actually need to do the work to achieve the body of your dreams. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
as plain and simple as it gets. And it's like, and it's so painfully simple that people think that there has to be a quick fix. There has to be a better way. Like, there has to be a way for me to, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are people that, and this is where they're an exception to the rule, the people that win the lottery and then utilize that money to generate and continue to hold that level of wealth. However, majority, like you say, they get that money, they don't know what the fuck to do with it, and then they lose it all and they go back to their normal frequency because they haven't worked their way up through the ranks to be able to hold that level of wealth. And they don't know what to do with it. Do I invest it? Do I like just spend it? Do I like, what do I do? And it's like, okay, well, you learn that shit along the way to get to that level of wealth. You learn from people because you learn from your own mistakes. And you learn from going, oh God, should have thought about that investment a little bit more. Or, oh, yeah, okay, probably wasn't worth it. That didn't mean as much to me as I thought it did. I'm going to sell that, utilize that money, put it here instead. It's like they actually formulate a system, but you can't formulate a system if you haven't walked the path. If you've just been picked up and dropped down, you're just like, how did I get here again? Like,
Yeah.
where the fuck am I? And I don't know anybody. And it's like, it's a bit scary. And I just want to go back. And that's what your unconscious is saying. I just want to go back.
Yes. Yeah.
And then whoop, you drop down those frequencies. And it's fucking amazing. And it actually, I'm somebody that's fully obsessed with the journey.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so obsessed with the journey. I document the journey. I'm that weirdo that I write myself a letter every year on my birthday. I've started doing video journal entries for myself. Like, no one else sees this shit until they want to see that shit because I've journeyed so far, right? And this is where it's like that delusional self-belief comes into play, because it's like I actually hold the belief that I'm going to achieve so much in my lifetime that there's going to be a point where they're going to be like, we need to make a documentary about you. And I'm going to be like, oh, sure, I've got all of this archived. I've documented the entire journey to create this global company or to like reach this level of success in whatever field, right? And that's the level of belief that I want everybody else to hold. Like, what if your life was a movie? What if it was? Like, what are the audience doing? For God's sake, please ask yourself that. And it doesn't actually matter if it's like, this is the piece. It doesn't actually matter if it's a, in inverted commas, like a good movie or a sad movie or a romantic movie or an action movie or a thriller movie. It's like, there's always a hero, as in there's always a main character. Is it you? Like, is it you? Are you like, are the audience rooting for you? Even if you're in the hardest of times right now, are they crying with you? Are they going, come on, you can do this. You can get through this. I've had those parts in my movie. Holy shit. It's like, so when I'm in them now, I go, it's fine. It's fine. Like, this is all a part of the journey. This is all a part of it. It would be boring. Your life story would be boring if everything went well, if everything went the way that you anticipated it to. Like, but I hold on to that vision right at the end. It's like, no, I know where I'm going. And so this is it's fucking comes back to self-awareness and clarity and then knowing what you want, knowing who you are. Like we've covered so much already, but it's that piece, right? Like that's what's really important to me. It's how do I document this and how do I move through whatever I'm going through with the knowledge that it's not going to last forever? And how do I do it being the person I say that I am? So even if times are really shit, how am I showing up?
Yeah.
Comes back to the who. Am I still being kind? Am I still like feeding into those fundamental core pillars of me, of my personality that I chose, not that were given to me via my environment that I grew up in or my parents or my siblings' beliefs or what society expects of me. I chose them. So how am I showing it?
Yeah.
Everything falls into place.
I love it. I love it. It's so true. And you think about like the who that you are when things are a bit tough too. So like to use your example about, the flustered mum who's dropped her purse and coins everywhere. You've just had an absolute shit day. You're miserable. This has happened, that's happened, like whatever. And you're just like the last fucking thing I want to do right now. I've got to sort back. Last thing I want to do right now is pick up and do this. But that's just who you are. So it's not even a thought. Like it's just like that's just what I do. That's who I am and that's what I do. Right. And I'll wrap this up by like it's almost like timeline jumping hacks or time collapsing hacks. And I think one of them is proximity, and something that like, you touched on before when you're kind of like seeing people around you and what they're doing and like, are they inspiring you or are they like super fucking downers? Because like you're going to like be so much more pulled to that frequency because that's kind of like what you're like unconsciously actually absorbing yourself.
Yeah,
Because it's hard to like stay up here when people are like here.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest, this is such a hack for proximity. One of the biggest things that's going to like reveal so much to you that you can do is when something good happens, share it with your people. Do they celebrate you? And is it genuine? I'm not kidding. I have like a once off rule now. If I win and I share it with my people, if anybody in that circle or in my proximity or anybody that I share it with doesn't celebrate it, and I don't mean blow smoke up my ass, I mean genuinely happy for me that I've had a win, they're gone.
Yep.
They're gone because because this is the thing, you can't base it off of when things are shit. No. Because humans love complaining. Humans love connecting over hardship. That's what we do as humans. We fucking live for it. It's like, oh my God, you're having a hard time. Oh my God, come here, let me coddle you. And we love it and our unconscious loves it and we feed into it. And that's actually okay. But when you win, who's there going, fuck yes, I knew you could do this. I'm so fucking proud of you. Like, what's next? Let's celebrate. Like, give you a big hug. Like, people will like celebrate in different ways, right? Like, maybe it's a little handwritten note. Maybe it's a little voice note. Maybe it's flowers. Maybe it's just a message of, I'm so proud of you. Knew you could do it. Whatever it is. Again, it helps to know yourself more. I know that I'm a words of affirmation person, so words are always huge for me. But it's that piece of like, if they don't celebrate me from a genuine place and you feel that, they're gone.
Yeah.
Because they're holding me back. Because that energy holds me back unconsciously without me even knowing it. And so ask yourself that when you look at your close proximity, would these people celebrate me? If you were to win the lottery, what's their reaction? Like, and you'll feel it. You'll know it. You'll be like, oh, that person would just want to be my best friend just so they could come do cool shit with me. Or that person would actually cry with happiness for me because they know I've been struggling. Or like, do you know what I mean? When you win, what do?
Yeah.
And winning might only be winning for you as well. So for instance, if you happen to leave a relationship, if you leave a job, if you start a business, it might look like a huge like risk, but are they proud of you and do they support you and are they there for you? Because that's the foundations that I believe makes a true friendship. It's like, it's got to be foundational love. And if it's not foundational love and willing to celebrate you, it's not it. See ya.
I think that's a great example to use. Like if you won $10 million tomorrow, you have a pretty good idea, I think, immediately, kind of like who would be like, shut up, like fuck yeah, like oh my God, best thing ever. Like, and it's just nothing, no hidden agenda. And then like you see people that they tell stories about people who come out of the woodwork where it's just like, oh, how are you? How you been? You been good? And stuff. And I notice it on like obviously significantly smaller scale with my boat, for example. It's kind of like leading up to summer, and then like interestingly, these people kind of like trickle back in, and it's like, huh, okay, yeah, I see you. I see. I'm going to ignore you. And it is that true. Like, and something that I guess I've struggled with and call it like tall poppy syndrome or whatever is just because it's like celebrating wins in the past has sort of not been super serving to me in certain instances because it's kind of like I'm outgrowing, the people around me. And it was always like kind of like tricky. And I think like honestly, Trailblazer is probably the first place I'll come into when I'm just like, even if you guys have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, I'm just like, I'm so excited. It's just like nothing but like fuck yeses and like go Megs. Like that's the vibe. And that's what you want, right? That's it. That's it. Nothing else.
Literally, and I read something, it is a famous quote. I can't actually recall who it is, but it's like the premise of all anybody ever needs is one person to fully believe in them. That's actually all anybody needs. And I think about that. And like when I was much younger, like my parents have always been great support, but more an internal, like they internally supported me. They weren't necessarily external about it. So I never necessarily knew, I didn't necessarily feel it, but that one high school teacher, like that one teacher that was like, push can. I was like, I still think about that. I'm like, oh, I can do that. Of course I can.
Yeah.
Like I still go back to those moments. So like think about who those people are for you, but then further than that, how are you being that for other people? And are you supporting people? You going into your wounds and your insecurities when other people are trying to celebrate? Like, are you projecting your shit or are you able to hold that too? Because we all have shit. This is the thing. There's always shit. There's always shadow. There's always more stuff to work on. How neutral can you hold your shit and not project it out? Because that'll totally change your life. And that's a whole nother tangent. So
I know. I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna keep pulling this thread and more stuff's gonna keep coming out and I'm here for it. So just so that this isn't like a mini, like, I don't even know what, audiobook. but it's true. And yeah, maybe like think about, like, because it is, and an easy one is always to go back to money, because money is like, not everyone, that's a lie. It's a common kind of like stressor for people. If you were in your worst financial state ever and you had seen that somebody, your best friend or whomever, had just won the lotto and it's just like living fucking financially abundant, are you able to like genuinely be happy for that person? From like your heart, and it's just like, yep, like, good for them, or are you like, they didn't deserve it, that should have been me? So be that for somebody, and even if you don't know what they're talking about, just like match their level of excitement, and you have got no idea how much of an impact like that can make on someone's life.
It's so true. That is so true. It's the vibe, right? Which is the
it's
podcast
the vibe.
as well.
Yes. Oh, well done, well done. Oh my God, you're the best. So you touched on We Are Mindfluencers earlier. So talk to us a little bit about that, and then tell everybody where they can find you for the Caity Walker goodness.
Absolutely. So I'll do it really quickly. So we are mindfluencers. So it is a brand new word. Love this for me. So it may take a bit to get your tongue around. However, I guarantee it will be your word of the year in coming years. This is how impactful this company will be. So at the moment, we are a corporate coaching and consulting company. So what that means in normal people talk is we go into companies, we work with leadership teams, we work with executives, we work with boots on the ground so we can deliver to all levels. But we're really working on human skills. We're changing minds, we're influencing people. I totally get. So I have a business partner. So my business partner has got over 15 years experience in the corporate industry. Me, not so much. I am the disruption. Like I am the absolute bomb that will be dropped in the best possible way. I am somebody that goes in and I'm like, we can do this differently. Like this can be done differently. And with my background in coaching and all the things, it's that very human to human element and level, and very personalized, and it's beautiful. So you can find Mindfluencers on LinkedIn and of course on Instagram. We are Mindfluencers. So Mindfluencers, just drop the IN of influencers and you'll find it. And then me personally, Caity Walker, I am a coach. So I coach people in a one-on-one capacity and run a mastermind, which Megs is a part of. And I absolutely love that. Called Trailblazer. So I focus exactly on what we've spoken about in this episode. I focus on the who. I focus on who you are. I focus on how we can get you to being more of you, whatever that is for you. So knowing that you get to choose that. And then we bring it to life, which is the most exciting part. So yeah, I do that in a one-on-one capacity in the mastermind. You can find me on Instagram, Caity, CAITY_Walker.
Yay, thank you. Did you know you actually just dropped the podcast tagline in that there as well? We do things differently here.
Oh, how's that for
Well
like
done.
unconscious programming?
Well done. My marketing is working. She knows everything I do.
That's amazing.
As soon as you said it, I was like, wait, she did not just say that.
That's so perfect.
Oh my God, perfection. Well, thank you for taking the time. I absolutely adore you, and I'm so grateful for all the support that you continue to show me, and yeah, just the shit and the magic that we're creating. It's just like, it's something else. It's just like, yeah, we'll see in another, 6 months, and like the last 2 months kind of been like, I don't know, 5 years fucking combined in changes for me. So I'm beyond excited to run this journey with you. And thank you again for coming on the podcast.
So honored. Love you.
Love you.